The following episode contains language and descriptions of violence and self-harm. It may not be appropriate for all listeners, but it was my life. Discretion is advised. What up, what up? Welcome back to another episode of Roll Call with Chappie. We are going to start this one off a little different today because I got my partner, Mr. John Malott.
Yo.
Introduce yourself real quick before we get to our little treasures right here, buddy.
John Malott, man. My name is John. I'm your friend. John, John Malott, Malott on Instagram, TikTok, and wherever else.
Tell them what this is, bro.
Oh, man, this is the bomb right here, liquid gold.
Yes.
Highly absorbable liquid nutrition in the most convenient form on the planet, a snap pack. So we're introducing the world to a new delivery system.
We're going to get it right now, right?
You want to do it?
Yeah.
All right, let me warn you, bro. This is not for the faint of heart, man. This one is no joke. We got athletes. This is like smelling salts and tequila. Now, you don't drink.
Yeah.
But I know you remember what they used to taste like.
As long as I don't have to reset my sobriety date, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm not messing you up, I
Come
promise.
on, 6 years next month, bro.
Oh, man, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, let's snap to that.
Yes.
We never snap alone. Cheers.
Let's go.
This is how we do it, straight to the head. Normally I do a little dance.
Yeah,
Woo!
We can't dance while we're in the chairs.
Yeah. No sugar, vegan, gluten-free, GMO-free, all the frees. It's straight gangster though, like going head to head with 5 Hour Energies, the energy drinks that you drink that I got to get you off of.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Normally my friends, if I see them, I just slap it out of their hands. I don't say
I'm a
nothing
little too big to slap.
Yeah,
right?
I wasn't messing with you. I haven't seen you in a while, so I don't know how you might respond.
Out of respect, bro.
Yeah, don't let me see that damn thing.
All right. Anyways, you're a boss, man, and I've followed you for a long, long time, and just very grateful for the little bit of time I got to spend with you. And I'm excited to learn more about you myself. So I know you got a little checkered past growing up, and if you could start there, because a lot of people see where you are right now, and I feel like I say this with all my guests, but you might think that you had an easy way just because you see how you're living right now, but it definitely wasn't like that for you. So let's get into how you grew up, bro.
Oh man, I was off track. At, my first felony arrest, I was 15 years old.
Damn, you beat me.
When was yours?
18, bro.
Okay.
I had nothing but misdemeanors until then.
Man, I look back, the things that we did at 12, 13, 14, it's insane. I was just partying in Nashville with one of my best friends I grew up with in Milwaukee on the south side, Mike Turner. Mike did about 15 years when the RICO Act came and picked him up. But we were talking about, like, the stuff we did as kids.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously,
lucky to be alive. Yeah,
we are lucky to be alive, and there's a lot of us that from that neighborhood that are not alive. But my first felony arrest, I was 15 years old, 18 months locked in a juvenile detention facility. I finally get released, and what we now call today the crack epidemic had hit the neighborhood pretty hard. We didn't call it crack. We are freebasing cocaine, which is now known as crack. But anyhow, I didn't get the memo. I wanted to be a capitalist so bad, so I thought, well, this would be a great way to make some money. But the memo was, don't get high on your own supply.
Yeah. We got songs about that, bro.
Yeah, and I clearly wasn't paying attention. 17 years old, I have a heart attack from smoking cocaine. And then I end up locked up again over some circumstances surrounding that. It was just an interesting time, but what's crazy about that time? It didn't seem unusual.
Yeah, it was part of life, right?
It was just part. It was it's how we rolled.
Yeah, you almost expected it going down doing the stuff you're doing, right?
Yeah.
How tough was it going to juvie at were you 16, 15 years old?
15.
Because it was tough enough at 18, let alone missing your real childhood. That had to shape you.
The challenge was there were so many of my friends in there.
Not making that life seem cool, huh?
It did. What we sat around doing was talking about how we wouldn't get arrested or we wouldn't get caught the next time. We weren't being rehabilitated. We were figuring out how never to get caught again. And when you're young and cocky, it's like, oh yeah, next time it's gonna be different.
For sure.
And there got to be a point in there where I was like, this can't be it. There's got to be a better way. Yeah. Plus, I like girls.
Yeah, I like girls too. Man, a lot.
That became the first week was all right, but by the second week, I started jonesing for something else.
Yeah, the hand don't look the same as a girl, bro. Especially when you got a woman like yours. So shout out to Naj Malott. You got a queen right there,
goddess, boy. Yes, you don't need Viagra when you got a Najla.
Seriously, yeah. I'm not gonna say anything else on that, but your wife is absolutely stunning, bro. She's a cooler person and she is gorgeous too.
Yeah, so smart. When you can find one that is that fire, and smart. Because I had a lot of good-looking ones.
It's hard to get the whole package.
Yeah, they were dumb as rocks, which was probably the reason why they were with me. Anyway,
to be honest, chicks that are gorgeous like Naj Malott in Old Town are a dime a dozen. It's the other stuff that really does it for you. You know what I'm saying?
Have you seen the chart, the hot versus crazy?
Oh yeah, and they have to be a certain thing.
Yeah. There's a certain hotness there for sure, a certain craziness, and anyways.
Oh, I've been there with a few of those.
They've cost me millions in divorces and all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah, luckily it didn't cost me because I was in prison the whole time. If not, I'm sure, damn sure.
Oh yeah. You're a lot like me. It would.
Yeah. So you got locked back up at 17 years old again?
Yeah, it wasn't for long. You know, I ended up that's where everything changed though. When I was in this drug rehabilitation program, there was a guy by the name of Dave. Dave was a former outlaw motorcycle gang member. It was the first time that I had someone not like talking at me and telling me you're a loser, because I heard it all the time. And at a certain point, I was like, yeah, I already know that.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't like you either.
Yeah.
But he commanded respect, and he was a lot like me. Like I knew he came from the same neighborhood the whole bit. He had some years on me, but he demanded respect. And he said, listen, bro, stop being a little. Can I say?
Yeah.
All right. Stop being a little biatch. You made an appointment to be here. You can blame the police. You can blame, your dad or your mom left you. All this stuff. He said, look in the mirror, bro. This is you. 100% you. And he really forced me to evaluate myself, because I was the biggest blamer ever. Mm-hmm. All the problems I ever had up to that point were not because of me. Yeah. It was everybody else.
Yeah. I was actually blaming everybody else for a problem this morning in my life too, so I'm still working on that stuff.
We still, all of us have to go through it. But he held the mirror up, and he was the first guy to introduce me to personal development.
Okay.
In this it was DePaul drug rehabilitation facility in Milwaukee, and he gave me a book there called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Okay. Dale Carnegie. Yeah. And I wasn't a reader because I already had dropped out of school by this point, and reading was not high on my list. But he forced me. Because he kept telling me business is your way out. I'm like, bro, I'm in here because I couldn't sell this shit in the neighborhood. I didn't see myself as like a businessman, CEO. Because my vision of that was way different. Yeah. And he kept saying, I'm telling you, you're way out. I wasn't built for sports. I wasn't built for the damn neighborhood I was in. But he convinced me, or he planted the seeds that eventually grew into, you know what? Maybe entrepreneurship. Maybe Dave was right. Maybe this is my way out of the neighborhood. And it was for so long, even coming out of that rehab, when I finally get out, I was clean for 9 months. Okay. You know what it's like when you've been that way and then you're clean for 9 months? Man, I had clarity. it was great.
Like a new human being, right?
Man, completely different. Yeah. But my dumbass gets with my friends, and my friends were very smart. They said, John, there's other ways to do cocaine, bro. You don't have to smoke it. I said, you know what? You're right.
Those are some good, sounds like the dudes I used to hang out with.
Yeah, great friends, man, great guys. And so it wasn't long, now I'm doing lines, I'm drinking, doing lines, and, and found myself almost immediately right back where I was. Because when I left the drug rehab, I had left, because I already burned all the relationships in my life. I had the tennis shoes, the jeans, and the sweatshirt. Mm-hmm. There was nothing else. There was no money. There was no extra clothes. I didn't have a duffel bag.
All the way from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, too, or what part of Wisconsin?
I was right south side of Milwaukee.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah, it was. In my neighborhood, it was predominantly Mexican and black. It's funny. My little brother, he was a year younger than me, but we both had fire red hair.
Really?
Little skinny white boys, fire red hair. So we stood out in this neighborhood. Like everybody knew who we were. I mean, we couldn't get away with anything because we stood. It was the opposite of what you hear from other.
For sure.
It was anyways. My brother's still in and out of prison. Has major challenges with heroin and anyways.
Maybe he can hear this.
What's that?
Maybe he'll hear this.
I hope he does. I hope he needs to, because he's still in that blaming. Him and I had a fallout. We used to be really, really tight, but we've had several fallouts over money. I'm like, listen, bro, our sister died from heroin when she was 21. Wow. You're heading down the same path. I can't, and I'm making money, so it's an expectation to give the money. So I was doing it for so long, but I realized I know what I'm doing. You know what's going to happen? One night, I'm going to get the call. Yeah. It'll be the night that I gave him money.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to kill him.
And I said, and then we stopped. And of course, I'm the bad guy. I'm a sellout. You're no good. And even at
our sister's funeral, now that you're making money.
Yeah, you're better than everybody. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So we don't have a relationship right now until he's truly in a place where he can communicate without the the drugs talking.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole nother language.
For sure.
And they're and you know, when you're on drugs, man, you are good. Because I never ever missed a night of getting high.
Yeah.
I don't care if it was Tuesday, Wednesday, it doesn't matter. I have no money, but I'm still getting high. You know what I mean? It's a testament to how powerful our mind
Figure it
really
out.
is.
Yeah, you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, when I hear people say, "No, I don't know if I can do it," or "I'm not sure," I'm like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Become a drug addict for a little while. You'll figure out.
Try
a
and
way.
take a day off in the middle of a drug run. Let me know how that works out for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
Wow, dude, your story is even more impressive than I thought, and we're just getting into it. You know what's cool though is because I always share about that with your rehab stint. It doesn't click. You can go through the same program 4 times until you see someone that you feel like has walked your actual shoes, you know, and that's the biggest problem with dudes from prison is they won't, and that's why it works so well with me going and talking to them, because when we're in prison, I was the same way. I wouldn't listen to a soul unless you had been on a 4-yard ranch shitting with some gangster in there or something like that. I mean, you ain't gonna tell me a damn thing about my life. So it takes what it takes, and luckily you had that guy in there, and even though you didn't get it, you probably always had that in your head, which I'm sure we're gonna get to again. So
always.
Once you go through that, it's never the same. The using and drinking is never gonna be the same. So let's get into that. So then what happened next?
It's funny because later on in life, I wrote a book with Les Brown, the motivational speaker. The book is called The Power of One. Don't buy the book. It's the worst book ever. If you want a copy, I'll give it to you for fire kindling.
I've never heard someone say that about one of their books.
I mean, his part was great. My part sucked, you know. But Les used to say that once your mind expands, it can never go back to its original dimensions.
That's good, yeah.
So that's what happened as I was now educated to what was happening in my life because of drugs, what was happening in my life because of crime, what was happening in my life because of myself. And so when I would do some of those same things later on, now it weighed on me. Now it was like, damn, I know I'm a loser. Before, I didn't know I was a loser. It's just what we did. You know what I'm saying? So it was interesting how, as you started to get information changed everything for me. Now, I wish I could say this shit happened fast, man. It took, when I finally made a decision to become an entrepreneur and turn my life around and get off the drugs and change associations, it didn't happen right away. And Les used to say, jump and the net will appear. I'm like, damn, I jumped and I bounced off the pavement like 15 times. No freaking
Where's this net?
Where's the net, man? And that's when you want to quit, because it's easy to give in when you know you're doing it. Like I was doing it. I was really trying to do the right thing. And I'm like, man, it's easier to I could go get some money right now. I know exactly how I could do it. And anyways, it was a process, and because I was operating from such a deficit, it took longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when you don't have like a big support system, or you don't have someone who's got money to fund things, and most of us really don't.
Yeah, most of us don't.
Most
for
of
sure,
us don't.
especially dudes getting out of prison.
You got to be a gangster in your persistence. You got to be a gangster in that I will not be denied. I will go until I get it done, and that was very difficult. So it took me 7 years as a full-time entrepreneur to finally crack $100,000. My first year as a full-time entrepreneur, I made $4,000.
Really? How old were you?
I was 20. I just got released. I was going on 25 years old.
Okay.
And because no one was going to hire me, so that was the other thing. It's very difficult. You know, if you check the box, you're not getting a job. If you don't check the box, you might get the job, but you lose it later on. So you always had this dilemma going on. That's why network marketing, MLM, became my savior.
Do you hear Brad Lee's theory of the mark in the box?
No.
That he shared on my story?
No,
he goes,
I
if the
didn't
box
see that.
right there, have you been convicted of felon, and the one's right next below it, he goes, just mark the thing right in the middle, a little bit closer to that I haven't, but a little bit farther away from the one that's saying that I have.
I love Brad.
Right? It's smart though. He goes, because then you can always argue. It's like, oh, I didn't mean I was checking the other one.
Oh, yeah. See, Brad is good, man. I love Brad. Brad, I've been on Brad's Dropping Bombs podcast too, and Brad and I go way back. He's
Brad's a stud too.
Yeah, I love, guys like that. I love people that just say what's on their mind.
For sure.
It doesn't matter if you agree or not. I would rather have someone who I know what the hell they're about.
Or was passionate about their stuff too, and they're not just going to sugarcoat it or say something your way just to kind of agree with you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Brad's not that way at all.
No, not that way. Like, this is what it is. This is what you get. You know what you're getting with.
So $4,000 your first year an entrepreneur. That's we were talking about another stud, Andy Frisell, earlier, because I mean
all these guys are bosses.
Yeah, those dudes. I think he made. Have you heard his story? He made, I think, $5 like his first week in there or something. And it was because he had one of his friends come in and buy like a smoothie from them or something like that. And then they were sleeping in the back of their stuff. So everybody thinks all you big dudes have just had it like that. And they don't realize the struggle and the grind. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want to show people here, that there is a struggle. And from where you came from to get where you are already, anybody else can do it.
Bro,
just like the same thing as me.
They laughed so hard. It was nonstop. I remember rolling back through the neighborhood in my Pontiac 2000, two-tone, one-tone rust, one-tone dirt.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I'm going to the top, and they're like, you ain't doing nothing. Nobody believed. Nobody.
They don't believe you until you've done it, just like Andy says.
Exactly. And Andy Frisell is such a boss. Like, he's such a massive inspiration for like where we're going as a new company. We launched a company a year ago, and his company, him and his company are such a huge inspiration, because like I learned a long time ago, if another man could do it, another woman could do it, then John Malott could do it.
There you go.
Then we could do it. I didn't have that mentality before. Now I realize, look, God didn't make you any better than me or me any better than you. It's just, what am I going to do with what I have here?
To be honest, I thought God made a screwed up package right here with myself.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm serious.
I think most people that have come from our environment, from that environment, are more likely to be down on themselves.
Yeah.
We're saying, this is what it's like. It's like eating a junk food diet every single meal, every snack. We just keep telling ourselves we ain't shit. Because we've heard it over and over and over, and it just keeps replaying.
Yeah.
That's why personal development became so huge for me. When I started to study the mind, because I'm like, well, my mind is all jacked up. Maybe I should learn how do I fix this?
Yeah.
And when I learned that we, any given time, we got 50, 60, 75,000 thoughts circling through our brain, but it's only one at a time. Like sometimes it feels like all this stuff's happening, but the mind grabs one at a time. And so when I realize what I got to do is I keep replaying the same crap over and over. I'm a loser. All the stuff I heard when I was in school, and when I got a central office suspension, I couldn't go to public schools anymore, and all this stuff.
Yeah. I
started realizing personal development for me was how I put new thoughts into my mind and making that part of the loop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So personal development, now I'm pushing out you ain't shit to you're a badass, or whatever, and
for sure.
And like I do this whole exercise with our salespeople about imagining in your mind's eye a white elephant. It just really get it clear in your mind's eye. And I would tell them, text me the next time you see a white elephant, because now it's part of your loop. So I'll get texts as I'm driving down the street, all of a sudden a white elephant popped into my head. So we know that
that's how powerful the mind is, right?
That's how powerful the mind is.
Yeah.
And if you can figure out how to connect it and control it. But like people are so depressed today too. Everyone's depressed. And
yes.
We all need, like, I never heard about like this whole self-care thing. Like we're always self-caring. Like, damn, I know people are self-caring all fucking day long. Like, you gotta get shit done because you're too busy. My dad would call you a wimp and
he's
for
like,
sure. What the hell?
Mine too.
My dad was hard working steel worker. Like he didn't self-care. Self-care was Pabst Blue Ribbon at the corner bar.
Oh yeah, dude, my dad still talks to me like that, and I'm like, Dad, I'm not that little dude no more. You better watch your mouth. That's so we not scrap, but we fight about that a lot too. Because my dad's that way, very abrasive, and that's where I get it from. And he still tries to talk to me like I'm a little kid sometimes. I'm like, yo, Dad, I ran a lot of prison yards. You better watch your mouth, fool.
Yeah, be careful, be careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I really got focused on changing the mind. I knew that it was when I figured out it was me causing all my problems. Then I'm like, well, I got to fix me somehow.
There you go.
And how do I do it? And personal development was such a huge part of that.
I want to backtrack a little bit actually too, because I didn't know you lost a sibling to that too. How old are you when that happened? If you don't mind talking about it.
Oh yeah, it's not a problem. She was way younger. I was 30 something.
Okay.
And when she was 21.
Damn, man.
Yeah. And these dummies, like, she could have lived, but her dumbass boyfriend was freaking out and
didn't want to call the cops on it.
Yeah. Anyways, don't get me started on that whole
That's
thing.
what I had when I overdosed and died. And just to show you how heartless some of these fools are in prison too. Like when I had overdosed and died, my heart stopped beating. I was literally left there to die, and then didn't find out till afterwards that. And this was my youngster from the yard, And what does he do when I fall out right there after getting high? Takes the money out of my wallet and dips. Literally left me there to die. And from one of my youngsters that would have literally murdered somebody for me in 2 seconds if I asked him in prison. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's how people are in that game. They don't give a shit. Everybody's worried about themselves, and they don't want that high to come down. You know what I'm saying?
I have so many stories. Friends hiding on the side of the door, knocking on my door in the middle of the night, and I could see through the window what was about to happen. And these are my guys. We robbed General Electric. Sorry, General Electric. This was a long time ago.
Yeah,
we were kids, and because I was a janitor there, and I figured out how to turn the alarms off and everything. I came in, and and then my friends robbed me after I turned them on. We got all these computers and stuff. They robbed me. These are all my friends. Like we party all the time. But again, your mind gets twisted in that environment.
Yes.
And you become very selfish and self-centered.
Mm-hmm.
And at least that was my experience. And
for sure,
for talking to a lot of other people, you see the same thing. So we get so focused on me, myself, and I, and you're willing to do things to other people that you probably wouldn't if you weren't in that environment.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
So then, all right, let's back to your entrepreneur stuff. So you start making no money at first, and how long? You said you made $4,000, and then how long was it?
So yeah, 4,000, then 16,000, and then it was the 7th year I cracked 116,000.
And what were you doing back then?
I was with a company called TPN.
Okay.
It was a multi-level marketing company.
Okay.
And that's where I met Jim Rohn.
Gotcha.
Les
you know Jim
Brown.
Rohn?
Yeah. So Jim Rohn, people don't realize this. He had an incentive to teach me what he knew because he earned an override. Like when you hear Jim Rohn talk about his mentor Earl Schoaf, and of course Jim Rohn mentored Tony Robbins. Earl Schoaf was his upline in a network marketing company.
I DM'd Jim Rohn to come on my podcast. He didn't respond to me, dog.
Jim's a gangster, man. That dude is a whole nother level. But Jim was the one who taught me, about really got in my head around philosophy.
Okay.
And it's not the wind, it's the setting of the sail, and all these things that started to stick to me, and had such a huge impact. And the reason why they make kindergarten chairs so small is because life demands progress. And so all the stuff that later on, I just took his shit and started saying it from stages, and people started paying me, 30, 40 grand for an hour on a stage. I'm like, geez, I just took other people's stuff. I'm a great regurgitator.
For sure.
But Jim Rohn really...
but you know why it works? Because they believe in you as a person. Like we said, it takes someone that they believe in to listen to it. So maybe he wouldn't have got through them, but you saying the same shit, and people know the type of person you are, they're going to listen to it rather than just someone else spouting that shit out of their mouth.
There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
And that was it, man. So I just stayed focused. I knew that the alternative wasn't any good. Like I was a janitor for General Electric.
Janitor, wow.
And people were like, "You got a good job. Be happy." I'm like, "This sucks, man." You walk in, nobody's like excited to see you. It's like, "Hey, my girl, you didn't do this, you didn't do that." That's why I robbed them later on in life. But
it was their freaking fault. They weren't nice enough to you.
Just like the movie theater. When I was 15, when I robbed the movie theater, they got robbed because of them. It was their own fault that they got robbed.
One of my old buddies from the joint, dude, who was like one of my OGs in there. He used to one of these charges he went away for. He was robbing the drive-in movie theaters, and he was on a motorcycle with a machine gun, hit all the drive-through tellers like that, bro, straight up.
Yeah, every time I think I was a gangster, I'm like, there's always a bigger.
Same with me, bro. You hear that stuff, and then you're in the joint walking around with those dudes, and I was just like, what are you in for? Like a burglary charge? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't even believe me at first that I got 12 years for a burglary charge. Like they were like, there's no way you got 12 years for a burglary charge.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I have one of the worst cases in Arizona's history for that. Like non-dangerous burglary charge. I got 12 years in prison at 18 years old.
Someone didn't like you, bro.
Yeah, well, I had the most harsh judge in sentencing, which was Judge Ishikawa, that had gotten banned afterwards for being too harsh on his sentences. But he had this weird thing in his head that I didn't find out until afterwards. He thought that kids' minds don't mature until they're 30 years old. So that's what he did. 18 plus 12 years for me was 30 years old. So he locked me up till I was 30.
Dang. What he was doing is making more violent, better criminals.
Absolutely, for sure.
Because there's no rehabilitation. That's what's so funny about the thing. No one's getting rehabilitated in these facilities. Unless you really choose to. You get, you should be in there reading. You should.
Well, because there's none of this stuff, bro. That's why I'm saying this podcast going in there, I think is literally a life changer for it. And I'm telling you, it's gonna make a huge, huge difference for Arizona out there because there is no good programs, and especially when you're on those high yards, 4 and 5 yards, you don't have none but sit in a damn cell and just get more angry and violent. You know what I'm saying? And then now that people can listen to a podcast in there and they could hear that all that tough guy killer shit in prison don't really mean shit. You know what I mean? I ran yard upon yard and was literally the man in there, and then I get out and I'm like, where's all my fucking respect at? You don't get it out here. You know what I mean? It doesn't pay you $1, and you have to. It just makes it that much harder to rewire all that bullshit that you had in your head. So now this is a game changer for dudes because they can start already doing that and progressing and thinking about the streets before then. I didn't even know about the streets. I had no fucking clue. I didn't do anything positive until I got out, and I was like, holy shit, I can do this now. You know what I mean? So I didn't do nothing positive.
Yeah, well, this is super dope. I mean, to have this type of information available for people in prison, for young people. This didn't exist when I was coming. Like, if you wanted to get information when I was coming up, you had to physically go to the library.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then my dumb ass would forget to bring the books back, and now I can't go to the library anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Or you bring them Louisville home, and they charge you for the books, and I'm like, throw a freaking fit or something like that, and then go rob the bookstore because they charge you for them. That's a move I would have pulled.
Yes. But so now the access to information is available, so it's now on us.
Yes.
To get the information. You can't use it as an excuse. You want to know how to scale a business? Well, you can find that information. You want to know how to lead? Anything you can think of is available. And then podcasts like this, where you're putting hitters on, people that have been there and done that, not just theory.
Luckily, because you guys are blessing me with my presence here for that, I sure. But
Man, well,
my story is only so cool. It's like the guys like you guys that are coming on here dropping game like this for real.
It is your story. It's who you are, of course. That's the first part, is who you are, and then your story is powerful. Your story's strong, and I can tell you this: most wealthy people, they want to help other people if they're smart. Because look, the last thing I want is a whole bunch of desperate ass people running around. Because if you become targets, you become, like I say all the time, I don't mess with desperate people. I see a desperate person walking towards me, they even look desperate. I'm walking across the street. I don't mess with them anymore. I've had my share of what happens when you deal with those type of people. So if we can pour into people and teach them how to get an abundance mentality, how to get rid of the scarcity mentality, how to get rid of all this negativity and anger and all this shit that we all have, but figuring out how to get past it and stuff, and it's stuff like this that does it. And it's accessible and it's free. Yeah. Man, I used to have to go to these seminars, and I would sneak in because I didn't have money. But I go to these seminars that were $250 to get into to try to get this information. Yeah. Now all that information, it's available everywhere.
And now you're speaking on the stages. You ain't got to sneak in no more, right?
Yeah. Now they let me in for free.
I can't even picture John Malott trying to sneak into a $250 seminar because he doesn't have $200 to his name.
I didn't, bro. It was bad. But I would go. I remember driving. I would drive if I would drive 12, 13 hours in this beat up ass car I had. And I wanted the information so bad. If I heard somebody I respect, if I heard there was a Les Brown or a Jim Rohn, I'd get in that car on faith, because I usually didn't have money for gas. Yeah. You know how you like, I go to the ATM, I pray over the ATM trying to get like $20 out. Come on, Lord, just one more time.
Tell me I got 20 plus $1.50 service charge in here.
Yeah, change in the ashtray to put gas in the car. I remember, man, I would wash up, because I couldn't afford a room. So I'd sleep in my car and I'd wash up in like public restrooms. But I was so determined. I said, man, if they have the information, all I got to do is get that information. Yeah. And that goes back to another man.
That's so inspiring even for me to hear, dude, because, I mean, a lot of my guests don't know how you're rolling, dude, but we'll get into that at the very end, but you're friends with some billionaires, some big people. So to come from
I've been fortunate. Jim Rohn was one of the first guys to talk about, your circles. You understand your circle, but it was always like, you don't want to be the top guy in your circle. You should always be moving into the next circle. You should be always uncomfortable around the people you're around, and I'm at that place now because I'm at that age. Like I should be progressing. Yeah. So the new circles are billionaire circles. And so I just keep my mouth shut in those circles. Like, for sure. When I'm in a multi-millionaire circle, I talk all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
You guys shut up and listen to me now.
I've been having a good thing, but I say that for the past, year and a half, I've been trying to make it a point to be the dumbest dude everywhere I go, bro. And I'm talking and just soaking up the game and knowledge. And dude, after I had Fleischman on here, he took me out to some private dinner and he has 12 of his dudes there. And I'm like, that's probably the first time that I've been sitting at a dinner where I was just like,
yeah, Dan's
what the hell are these dudes talking? 3 of the dudes got jets. This dude's talking about getting a 737 jet because he doesn't like his other jet, and I'm just like, but
I went to Dan's birthday party, his last birthday party in California, and we're on stage with Steve Aoki. Yeah. Lil Wayne is performing. I mean, it's like the Who. That whole party. It's the Who.
Who's Who. Yeah.
I think it was one of the Waltons' houses. I mean, you get around people like that and that power of associations, you can't help but start to think bigger.
Yeah, for sure. Better. And then just like we said, we all think they came with that shit or were built with that stuff. No. 75, 80, 85% of those people, stories somewhat like ours. We just started from fucking nothing, man, and then just made it work and made it happen and figured it out and put their hustle and put everything into it, which is the coolest part about it too.
Bro, I used to think you had to be born in the house with the Rolls Royce already in the garage. I just thought like certain people.
The only way to get it was to have your dad give it to you.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I said, guys like me, that's just not in the cards. But you start to discover when you really think about the people you respect the most that have made it. There's always a hardship story. It's I go back to like the Paris Hilton days. Nobody really respected Paris Hilton when she was out partying and spending all the money. But if you think back, that came from the Hilton family who built the Hilton, global powerhouse hotels. There's where the respect from. That was where the grind came. And then people figured out how to piss that money away. You always hear like it'll be 3 generations later and billionaires burn through money. Yeah. I was watching American Greed and I was seeing one of these families that they were flying the damn family turtle on a private jet. Like they would send the jet to go pick up the turtle. The turtle. Like when you got that, that's it's stupid, ridiculous waste of money. Anyway, I don't know how we got on that.
Yeah, that's another level of money right
That's
there.
another level of
too.
money, bro. I'm like,
Private jets for the turtles.
Yeah, that's like, jeez. But yeah, you get around guys like Dan Fleischman and these guys, and my partner Cody Sperber is another guy. He
I got his cell phone number. I haven't met him. We talked over text. Dan gave it to me that day, and I haven't talked
He's
to
a
him over text.
powerhouse.
But I want to do some stuff with him eventually with some like apartments for dudes getting out of prison and stuff like that. And do some
and
huge
that's
things for
especially.
them.
But when you get around, like when I talk to him, it's just he's a magnet for money, without really thinking about it. It's a natural reflex for him to make money. It's a weird deal. Like for me, I still feel like I have to think about it. I got to put some effort into it. I got to come up, but it's like reflex for some of these guys.
Yeah, well, and that's just our mind, and that's us thinking the same shit too. You're just judging all that too, just like how we said about people getting started and getting to successful spots. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It ain't no easier for him. He just makes it look like that.
No, and that's the thing. You start to catch on that the people that make it look easy in my business, because we scale people, you have to make it look easy. Yeah. Our number one training technique is the truth, because building a business on a lie is way easier. Like if I come to you and all I got to do is figure out what you like. And if you tell me, oh, John, I love giraffes. I just tell you, guess what, Peter? We got giraffes everywhere. Come, give me your money.
It seems so simple,
and then,
too.
But all of a
Right.
sudden you come in and it's like, there ain't no freaking giraffes here, bro. You said there was giraffes. So it's easy to build. I always say when people build on a line, I say people build on a lie and eventually they die in the same line. I caught on a long time ago that I would just rather be straight up with you. This is the truth. This is who we are. By the way, there's going to be some damn work. There's going to be some shit you don't want to do. You're going to have to be consistent. It's going to be a pain in the ass. You're probably not going to make money right out of the gate. Yeah. But if you stick and stay, eventually you'll get your pay. And that's what I learned, man. Because I stuck around. I stayed in the game. I kept my head as focused as I could, as long as I could. I kept my reasons why in front of me. Mm-hmm. And we went on and we built, we've done 1.4 billion in sales. When I think about with a B, with a B,
yeah,
with a B, that's pretty,
right
from a little
that's
skinny redhead from the hood.
Different millions, bro. People don't even realize how much a billion is.
I still can't. I mean, I took a $600 check and turned it into $30 million cash. So people come to me with all this stuff with
tell them that shit on the stage, because I've heard you share that thing on the stages.
Yeah, man. Look, because the challenge is when you've got a record, when you've got a background, when you got a past, people don't open doors for you. There's no such thing. It doesn't matter if you paid your price or you paid your debt to society. You really didn't. You never do.
Yeah.
And so what are you going to do? You're going to go get a job? Okay, well, good luck with that. So for me, it was network marketing, multi-level, and people put it down, talk shit about it. I'm like, it saved my life because no one would hire me. I was a janitor for General Electric, which sucked. But when they said, here, we want you, and they gave me mentorship from people like Jim Rohn. Les Brown was involved in that whole deal. There were people that I would have never had access to, but they had an incentive because if I actually did something, they got paid. They got a little override from it. Yeah. That was an incentive enough for them to start putting new shit in my brain to get me thinking different. I learned leadership. I learned scaling. I learned team building. I learned marketing. I learned finance, all from a network marketing company where I wrote a $600 check. And that $600 check turned into $30 million. And this is like, I have a lot of friends that, like, when they make $30 million, well, 20 million went over here, and they're lucky if they take 4 out of that. Yeah. I got 30 million. I took all 30 million. I didn't have employees. I didn't overhead. I had none of that. It was straight in my pocket. And that was the difference. But in the beginning, it sucked. And that's people get like, oh, those things don't work. Only people at the top make money. Listen, Sparky, at General Electric, there was a dude named Jack Welch. He was at the top. Nobody was ever taking his position. Yeah. In network marketing, you actually start at the top. That's what people didn't catch on to. I built from there. I had to bring the people in. So I started at the top. Then I taught them, you're starting at the top, or you're not starting at the bottom here. You're at the bottom of someone else's company. You're not at the bottom of some fucking pyramid. You're at the top of this deal. Go and find the sharpest people. Everybody was sharper than me. Everybody was faster, better, smarter. So it was easy for me. I just went after everybody. Yeah. And at first people laughed, but eventually, and here's what's crazy. The people that were closest to me laughed the most. Where my big money came from was from strangers. Really? It was strangers built my whole damn business. No way. And I caught on real quick. Stop messing with the people that are closest to me because they saw me. Like I always say, you hung from the chandelier one time naked at that party, but that's how all your friends remember you. Right. And for me, it was like I found people that didn't know me, and I regurgitated stuff I heard from people that were better than me, sharper than me, faster than me. And they started joining. Our last company, we had 327,000 distributors in 8 countries. Our little team in a network marketing company, just our team was doing $220 million a year. Jeez, bro. It was like, And people laugh. And I call these new age entrepreneurs, I call them entrepreneur supremacists. And here's why. Because they're really good at putting someone else's hustle down. So somehow their hustle, so you're a real estate wholesaler. Somehow your hustle is more prestigious or better than my hustle as a network marketer.
Yeah.
I don't get that. It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, so I do a lot of these talks now where I'm defending an industry that's gotten a bad rap only because people will come in. I have so many friends in this industry that make 6 figures a month. I mean, if you're not making $100,000 a month in network marketing, you're not doing it. Mm-hmm. But these guys aren't out here puking all over their family and friends. They're not chasing you down. They're like, Peter, do it or don't do it. I don't give a fuck.
That's right.
I'm rolling with or without you. But when you're new and you're desperate and you're trying to make things happen and you haven't got the language down, you're like, you're throwing everything at everybody and your family and friends are freaked out by you. You freak them out. So I teach people how to become a professional. Dumb this shit down. Get some posture in your life. Understand what you've got. Deliver it properly. And you'll make some money. Maybe in the beginning supplemental, but at some point, I was making $250,000 a month. I worked for 3 years, $250,000 a month, whether I showed up or not. Didn't make any difference. I couldn't screw it up anymore. I figured it's better for me to go party and go see the world than even be in the mix anymore. So I'm like, what if I screw something up? I like this. I like
this
waking up.
Smooth sailing pretty much. I'm going to go and get out of town real quick and leave this place alone.
For 3 years, I partied. I went and did all kinds of stupid
That just
stuff.
shows crazy that you still had that many doubts in your head too about the stuff too, and you were making that kind of money too. It just shows how powerful the mind is, or how powerful it is, can be in a positive way or a bad way. You know what I'm saying?
I had doubts in my mind coming here.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Still get it, bro.
It's the weirdest thing.
I'm not gonna lie. I was nervous today for some reason. I told you I had a bad few weeks. And I'm just like, so I call usually I'd listen to a podcast or something, just soothe me on the way to drive over here. I made 4 different phone calls just trying to get people to talk me off the ledge. I was like, yo, I got one of them. Because I look up to you a lot, bro. For real. And I've had some killers on here too, but this was one time I told him, I was like, him or Brad or Dan is my biggest dudes on here. You know what I'm saying? I was even nervous about this, and I can say the same thing. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna fuck this up. This is not gonna go well. You know what I mean? I even said an extra prayer, so we all get it, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say you can. And then once I just get out of that little bitch in my body, and I'm just like, dude, I'm made for this shit. This is where my life is going, and this is where I'm supposed to be. So what? But
that's.
It just shows it still happens to dudes like us, bro.
Because it's a test, man. It's will you do it? I was listening today on CNBC. Joyce Meyer. I think she's a spiritual lady. She's got a book out called "Do It Afraid."
Okay.
And I told my wife, because my wife is such a powerhouse, but sometimes we both do it. I used to stop out of fear. I wouldn't do things because I was afraid.
Yeah.
But then I realized, okay, I gotta do it anyhow. I gotta push through this fear. I gotta get past it. And then all of a sudden, getting the other side of it, I'm like, what the fuck was I afraid of?
Yes, right.
And that's the thing. And as I know, like you do, I know hard gangsters, some of the toughest dudes that have no problem in a fist fight and in a brawl. But when it comes to communication like this, or getting in a group of people, or all of a sudden they're like little girls.
Yeah, for sure.
And what they'll do is they won't do the things that they could do or should do because of that. I got a new tattoo. I don't know if you saw it.
I do. I saw that thing is sick, bro.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Famous last words, man.
How did you even design that, bro? I've never seen that. Dude, I saw it. I was like, that might be one of the coolest tattoos I've ever seen, bro.
It turned out to be a good idea. I was like, this is either gonna be the worst freaking thing I ever did.
Dude, and that is gonna be bad if that is bad, because I'm doing the tattoo removal right now, and that would not be fun to remove.
Man, this one, you can't really. I mean, it just felt like he was scraping an open wound the whole time.
Dude, how bad is the shin too? Because those are my most painful tattoos.
No, this was the worst. I got my back is all covered. Same. My hands were terrible. I'm against cheating when it comes to tattoos, like this whole numbing cream thing. I refuse to do it.
I'm with you. They won't let you do that in prison, political ink. They won't let you get high or nothing like that. You got to feel all that shit.
I'll tell you what, if I ever did that again, I'm going straight. I'm getting me some numbing cream, or I'm getting high or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just telling you, that was bad.
What is your number one message? Because I always wanted this too. When you're getting up on a stage, you have free reign to say what you want. What are your pointers there? Or what's your number one message when you're talking on stages now?
Simplicity.
Okay. Because I want to hear this myself.
Yeah, I don't have this crazy mystical. For me, it's number one, you got to work.
Okay.
Don't let Instagram and society lead you to believe that you're just going to somehow go invest in Bitcoin and you're going to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
Ask the people that bought it 60,000.
Yeah, for sure.
Right now.
Yeah.
I get people hit me up all the time. John, I put my whole life into it. Now it's at 20 grand. I'm like, who?
I bought some Ethereum at $3,000, so I'm not the happiest about that.
I was investing a long time ago, and I put it all on a stick because I have a bad habit of, I just grab whatever.
Yeah.
So I put it on this treasure stick, and I told Najla, I guess this was 6 months ago, 8 months ago, whatever it was. So let me go see what's on that damn stick.
No
I had
way.
so much Ethereum, and I'm selling it all around $3,000.
There you go.
You know, the rich get richer sometimes.
It's good to sell
the
at
poor
$3,000,
get
not good to
children,
buy
the
at
rich get
$3,000.
richer, I guess. But it was sitting there for years, and I was like, dang, I wonder how much I have on there. And yeah, so I sold everything because I had a lot of friends telling me they felt like the bottom was about to drop out. And again, the same thing happened when I had a real estate investment company. I sold before the 2008 when the collapse happened.
Really?
I sold to my partner. It wasn't that I had a crystal ball. It was I was sick of real estate. I was
Really?
sick of it.
So you just got lucky.
Very lucky. I've been lucky a few times. And by the way, Mark Twain one time said, he said that he only had a couple of breakthroughs, but it kept him in pipe tobacco for his entire life. And I believe what he was saying is you don't need a lot of big home runs. For me,
Keep plugging away.
I've had 3, but I've had way more failures. Like if you look at, I've owned nightclubs and restaurants. I've owned publishing companies, mixed martial art, cage fighting companies, real estate investment. I've had so many traditional businesses, but I've had a few. Most of them were failures by most people's and even by my accounts. But I've had 2 major home runs, and I had 1 decent one. The one has set me up forever.
Really?
Yeah. So
that
I can play around with stuff. Huh?
Is it a secret?
Yeah, it actually was Secret.
Okay.
The name of the company.
What?
That was the name. It was SEACRET. It was
Really?
minerals from the Dead Sea. They played on the deal.
No way.
Yeah. That thing. I put millions and millions of dollars in my pocket. Set me up for a long time. And I invested in a company called Fastenal.
Okay.
Long time ago. They basically make fasteners, screws and nuts and bolts. Nothing exciting.
No way.
And yeah, and I doubled down. This was, I don't know, I guess probably 20 years ago.
Wow.
Almost 20 years ago.
Okay.
So I've had a couple of hits, and then I sold my real estate investment company before the bottom fell out. That was a nice, turned out great because that's what bought me the house on Camelback Mountain. So right now that house is, I don't know, 3.7 million. I bought the beach house. So what happens is, what I caught on to is that you can get momentum with this stuff.
I always say momentum, bro. Literally.
Yeah.
Once you catch a little momentum, it's almost a game changer, bro. And it's like you feel superhuman. You know what I'm saying? And then because it's all about confidence and just knowing you can do it. Because once you catch a little momentum and it's like start even making some money, you're like, I fucking got this now. And it's like almost, thank God this is possible. And now watch what I do because I believe it. And I'm actually seeing a little bit of results at first. You know what I'm saying?
There's a vibe, there's an energy, there's an attraction, an attractiveness, to it. And I don't always have that because I'm prone to depression. It's still to this day, man. I'm prone to some weird behavior. I'm like, why am I depressed?
Same, bro.
And my wife has to remind me.
I live in a $1 million house right now. I'm literally going through depression right now myself. Like seriously, bro. I drive a car that's like unreal. I got a house life. I don't have to go to work, bro. And I'm like literally depressed right now myself.
We're a bunch of
It happens to all of us, bro. Yeah.
Well, we got to get over that. I had a mentor that said, your success, the height of your success will be measured by the depth of your gratitude.
That's so good.
And it's very difficult, man. And I don't know why. And it really doesn't have anything to do with what we have. I figured that out. Like for me, I've had, look, you name it, I've had it. I don't even care about it anymore.
I know.
It's not that
Fun
attractive
fact,
to me.
bro, when I first met you, remember you came over and you're like, and I was like, I'm a car guy. So I was like, what does John Malott drive? You're like, I don't even have a car and I'm too busy to drive. I'm always on my phone. I was like, you are freaking kidding me.
I was following Dan Fleischman's
deal. For sure.
Dan said that's like, Dan is one of the most successful guys I know. He don't even have a car. Like Shaquille O'Neal offered to buy him a car, and he said, well, if you did, I would just give it away anyways.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm gonna try that. I did, and I was going through that stage, but it didn't work very well for me.
Right.
Because sometimes, and then as COVID, I'm trying to get Ubers. And there's no damn Ubers. Yeah. I'm hitchhiking, riding my bike. I'm like, oh, no, I got to do something else. So.
That's funny. Well, you did right picking that car.
Yeah, and I've had the Rolls Royce I've had all of this stuff. But you start to realize it's the new car smell eventually goes away.
For sure.
So it's not that important to me now. It's experiences, man. That's why I travel a lot.
Okay.
Experiences. I was with my daughters in Nashville this weekend. My oldest daughter.
Well, beautiful daughters you have, by the way, too, man. You're a stud, bro.
Yeah,
you got a great looking family.
Thank God I picked the right women. And by the way, when you get money, you become more attractive, and then you get better looking women.
Yeah,
That's just a little sidebar
sure.
for anyone.
I'm still waiting for that to happen to me.
I think you're fine, bro. But so my daughter's 30, and matter of fact, I tell the story from stage a lot. When you're saying what is the message, the message is I always start when I'm doing the big talks that they pay me big money for. My talk always starts the same way. July 4th, 1993, my home is surrounded by the police. And then I go from there. And it's not the first time, but this is the beginning of the end of a chapter in my life.
Okay.
And I tell the story how I have a tattoo that says, "A good man leaves inheritance for his children's children." This came because when I was being led out of my house, I'm 24 years old. I'm supposed to be a grown man. My Lauren, who was 30 now, I guess she was around 2 then, she's screaming, freaking, I'm being arrested in my house. And she doesn't know what exactly what's going on. She just knows the house is in disarray. I'm handcuffed. I'm leaving the house. And I'll never forget, as I was going through the door, I looked back and we caught eyes. It couldn't have been more than a second or two, but it seemed like a lot longer.
Yeah.
So now I'm sitting in the Milwaukee County Jail in the bullpen. It's July 4th weekend. So number one, I'm not going to court for a while.
Yep.
And I'm in there with a lot of criminals because criminals are very active this coming up weekend.
They don't stop on
July
holidays
4th.
either,
The
yeah.
holidays are busy times for criminals. And there was a bench around the whole deal. I wasn't the hardest criminal. I didn't get the bench. I got a floor seat next to a toilet that was leaking that weekend. Anyways,
Yeah.
what kept replaying in my mind is what Dave said, because Dave said this in drug rehab. He said,
No
a good
shit.
man leaves an inheritance for its children. I was 17. I didn't have kids. It didn't really matter a whole lot. But somehow that stuck into my mind.
Yeah.
And here I am picturing on the bullpen floor sitting there. I got stitches in my head because I had altercation with the police. That's a whole other story. So I'm coming down from everything, stitches in my head, miserable, hating my life, thinking a good man leaves inheritance for his children. And I'm picturing Lauren, my daughter, freaking out. I can't even take care of the one I've got. And now I might not see her for a while because I just effed up again. And it was on that bullpen floor in the Milwaukee County Jail that I made a decision. Yes, I was a loser. Yes, I was a drug addict. Yes, I was a criminal. Yes, I was all these adjectives that they use to describe me. That's who I was. That will not be who I am. That
It's
it will
never
not
too
be.
late to change.
And I made the decision on that floor. And you know what? I never did drugs again after that. I didn't get really arrested. I had a few little spats here and there, but never anything major again after that. I had to deal with that situation, which wasn't fun. But
For sure.
Eventually got through all that. And it was that day when I look back. That was the day that I finally actually made the real decision. But you know how it is sometimes when you ever been drunk over the toilet, like, God, if you just let me through this
Yes.
today, I'll never drink again. Well,
Yes.
and then next weekend you're drinking again.
That's why I used to do running hits in the joint, dude. I'm like, let me get away with this, please, and I promise I'm done. I promise
Yeah,
I'm done.
promise I'm done. And
Yeah.
I made all those shallow ass broken promises, but that was a promise, and it was because of my daughter.
There you go.
I said, okay.
It takes what it takes for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's something like that when it's just
something.
and it just takes on just to keep fighting until you get to that point.
So this weekend we went to Nashville, and I caught on my purpose was to pay, but I thought it was to because I'm cool.
It was the cool end because you're. And
Yeah,
to
we
pay.
had fun though. I was in the bachelor and like I turned you on to our product Surge.
Yeah.
So the first day, they's kids are they're in their 20s. They hit it and they're like, oh my God, because everyone's addicted to fat, salts, and sugars. So when you give them something that's not fat, salt, or sugar,
Yeah.
their system can't handle it. So the first day they're like, this is rough, and I'm like, don't stop being little bitches.
Yeah, I like this shit, by the
Yeah.
way, just so you know. So people need to go
By
try
the
that
third
shit.
day, they're like, bro, can I get another one?
I get some more of that shit?
Like these guys were, instead of doing cocaine, because some of them, and I'm like, do whatever you want. I'm
For
not
sure.
doing it.
I'm with you.
But we have people doing this instead of cocaine.
Yeah.
And so I walked away, feeling proud about that.
Hell yeah. And it's crazy when you went to our, people don't know this, but when you came over to my house, you had just talked about launching this company. And I was like, what the hell is
Yeah.
it? It was like some of the stuff was secret. And to see what you've done in a year and a half or something like that is, besides astronomical, it is just insane. And can you give people a little advice on that? Because I always tell dudes when you get out of prison now, social media nowadays and where the world is, you don't have to go work for someone. You don't have to do something. You can be an entrepreneur the day you get out of prison. So like,
Yep.
what is it? Even some
And
like
you
baby
should,
steps on
because
people how to
the
build a
job's
business or
gonna suck.
marketing and shit like that. Like, how do you the first steps to doing that shit, man?
Well,
Because I'm even learning. But when I see the shit you're doing, I'm like, where the hell does this guy learn all this shit? Seriously, bro.
I believe in it. And for me, also you got to keep in mind, this is my exclamation point of 28, 29 years of building companies.
You told me that too.
Yeah, so I'm like, this is my baby.
You called it.
Yeah, and I'm like, this one can't fail. I'm always, the company was built around what's happening in our society. Like when I talk about being addicted to fat, salts, and sugars, when I was 40, over a decade ago, I had a major health situation. And I thought, when you're making arrangements, like thinking, anyways, I go to the doctor. The doctor asks me all kinds of questions about my history. Doesn't ask me about how I'm eating, doesn't ask me about my stress levels, any of that. None of that comes up, only my family history. And so he blames my condition on my dad and my grandfather. My grandfather had died from something similar. So that was interesting, but he had a solution. He said, I'm going to prescribe you this drug. I'm thinking, cool. Because he made it sound like it was a cure.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it didn't work. It made it worse.
Really?
So it was a prescription drug. I have a friend that says, go see a naturopath. I didn't know what I'm thinking, is it a fucking witch doctor?
I don't
What's a
even know what
naturopath?
that is,
And apparently a naturopath is a medical doctor who decides to use natural type, vitamins and herbs and things like that first. So I go see a naturopath. The naturopath started off completely different. Asked me questions about what are you eating? What are your stress? Didn't even really touch much on my family history. So she didn't blame my dad.
Yeah.
Because what happens in our traditional medical system, we get let off the hook so we can eat like shit and do whatever we want because they're going to prescribe us something that they call a cure, which clearly, right now, we're the fattest, unhealthiest people on the entire planet.
Most miserable, grumpiest, everything. Yeah.
We're depressed. We're sad. The light has left our eyes. We got 20-year-olds that don't get off the freaking couch.
For sure.
I see them talking shit at me. I'm like, bro, you're 20-some years old, man. You don't ever want to scuffle with me.
Yeah. I've already ran around the country by the time you woke up today.
I'll put you over my knee. Anyway, but my point is that when I went to a naturopath, the naturopath says watermelon, pumpkin seed, saw palmetto, a bunch of like vitamin D, zinc, bunch of vitamins and minerals. And I don't know, 60 days later, I was a new man. And I was sold. I said, I will never return to that lump that I was. At that time, I owned a nightclub. So you can imagine my lifestyle. I'm heavy drinking. We got a restaurant during the day, so I'm eating everything. And I was just, and then I had a lot of stress. And I was up every night till 4 or 5 in the morning, acting like an idiot.
For sure.
But when I eventually left that restaurant. I said, even though it was a moneymaker and at night there'd be lines out to get in, I left. I was in Milwaukee. I came to Arizona. I gave the restaurant to the employees. I said, it's yours. I don't want anything I don't need the money from it. You guys run it. And within a year, they destroyed a restaurant that was one of the hottest nightclubs restaurants because they didn't have that mindset. They weren't entrepreneurial. They didn't take ownership of it. Mm-hmm. They had a lot of greed. Like I don't have a greed thing anymore. For me, it's always abundance. Like if I have it, it's yours.
For sure.
I'm giving it always. And that I think is also a prerequisite to getting more. I didn't know that at the time, but I keep getting blessed with incredible crazy offers. Like now to turn down, I'm turning down $30,000 an hour offers for speaking gigs, things like that. Where, man, if I could have got shit, if I
you ain't gonna send me a $30,000 bill for this one, are you, bro?
Yeah, no,
but a fat IOU like the Dumb and Dumber movie for me, bro.
Yeah, it's a different. When you get that abundance mentality, things really start to change.
That's right. What actually does drive you and keep you going nowadays, bro? Because I mean, before you did OSNAP, you could have been chilling, I think.
Yeah, I would have. But my wife and I you have these pillow talks, and my wife, she's young, much younger than me, but she wanted to be something. She's got a degree in speech pathology. She's very smart. And
it's great, dude. I'm just to talk about how people judge people. Like, dude, she is like a bombshell smoke show, like supermodel hot, and
because she's a lingerie model.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Model.
But then
she
she's
did
smarter
all,
and sweet and just like, dude, she's the whole package, and she's smart too. Yeah, and the heart. Yeah, for sure.
And she wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I warned her. I said, let me tell you something. Be careful what you wish for, because I don't do businesses that don't scale well. Like the cook opens up a restaurant. The guy who can drink well at the bar opens up a bar. These are all recipes for long-term disaster.
Yes, for sure.
I see people open up eyelash studios and hair salon, all this stuff. You can scale them, but you're going to have deep pockets. You're going to have, you have to scale physical facilities is not easy to do.
Yeah.
So I like to scale people. I like to pour. I always tell people I don't build companies. I build people that build companies. And so I pour everything into these people. So I find companies that I can scale well, and I can scale fast and inexpensively, and that's what I look for. I look for companies that we can put in systems in place, just like McDonald's. McDonald's doesn't need a guy in a 3-piece suit hard closing people on a Big Mac. It's very systematic, and it's you know exactly what you're doing. I just take a cookie cutter, and that's how we grew like South Korea. And I create an app. They press a button, and it can be in Korean, it could be in Japanese, it could be in the U.S., and I can get that bad boy scaling all over the world. And once you do that, I mean, I remember waking up one morning, I had a $250,000 day in South Korea.
Wow.
While I was asleep. That day was a great year for me. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff I started catching on. Man, why would I go mess around with all these traditional type hard to scale businesses because I want to be my own boss? I would rather do stuff like this that I could scale fast, inexpensively. Mm-hmm. Even if it's like, for me, it was always a whole lot of people doing a little bit made me rich. Okay. A whole lot of people doing a little bit. I was helping stay-at-home moms make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month from the house. Had hundreds and then thousands of these soccer moms that Then I had a few people. Then I had I don't know what, I guess we had 300-400 people that were making 7 figures a year. Most of them were in Asia. Asians work different than us, by the way. They have a whole different work ethic. But yeah, you know, we just encourage it, and then we learn to love on our people. So when I make 10 million, my people make 100 million. We flipped it.
There you go.
Because I was working with people that I knew what they were making, and I was getting scraps off the table.
You're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you work as hard.
Yeah, because I knew it. I knew how much revenue I was bringing these companies, and I'm getting a small piece. And I said, when I have the opportunity, I'm going to flip the script.
Do it different.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's why you know, I think Andy Frisella, it's just a matter of time before we're that, you know, we're in that category. We're in that greatness category.
Not a better goal to shoot for than anything that Frisella's doing, man.
No, for sure, brother. Yeah, he's such an inspiration, man. I love the dude. I love what he stands for. I love his heart.
I think I've 4 podcasts in a row, whether it's me or someone else, but he gets shouted out on every single episode of every
you
single
can't
show
help
on
it,
here,
man.
bro.
That dude is
you
everywhere.
literally can't help it, yeah.
If you don't like the way he rolls, then you know there's probably something wrong with you.
Yeah, and if you don't listen to my shit either,
Yeah,
bro.
don't listen to my
I don't
shit.
want you listening to my shit if you don't like Andy Frisella.
I just like he's a hard, soft dude. I don't know how to
Absolutely,
you know what I mean?
sure, yeah, because he's a good, genuine-hearted dude, but he
is.
is about as abrasive and just like the real deal as it gets too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Anyways, we could talk about this dude all day long.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, let's get out of the.
Yeah.
I want to wrap this up here, bro. I just want drop a little bit of game since this is on all the tablets for dudes in prison. Any little bit of advice for dudes sitting in the cell or something, like how they can start transferring their mind or anything that they want to do when they get out? I just want you to drop a little game for these dudes, man, when they get out.
Yeah, man. Look, I think it's real simple. You know, you have to get control of your mind. The thing is, in that environment, a lot of these guys are already learning because you have to, when you know you're stuck in there, you have to shift your mind to survive that environment.
Yeah.
You remember the prison show called Oz?
No.
There was a show on, I think it was HBO.
Okay.
And it was on late at night. And I remember coming home one night, and I think everybody in prison can relate to this. There's a narrator, a dude that was in a wheelchair, this black dude in a wheelchair, and he was narrating what was going on. But I'll never forget this night. I come home, and I caught this show for the first time. And this dude said, for everybody in prison, think about it. You're locked up. Let's say you got a life sentence. You have to be willing to give up on all of your hopes and dreams to survive that environment.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. If you got 10 years, doesn't matter, 5 years. Shit, you got to give up. You got a year. You got to give up on your hopes and dreams. At least it's deferred for sure. And he said, but here's the consolation to every single person who's behind bars, who's locked up like that. He said, all these people that are out free, all these people are out free, they do something. They do the opposite. They hold on to all of their hopes and dreams. Like, one day this is going to happen. One day I'm doing this rat race. I hate my job. I hate my boss. I hate my life. But one day, what's happening? These people are less free than the guy who is behind bars. These people don't have steel bars in front of them, yet they're
trapped. I got
trapped.
goosebumps literally head to toe, bro.
They're fucking trapped by their own minds. They're not becoming. They're not doing. The consolation for every person sitting in prison right now, just so you know, everybody who's supposedly free, they are less free than you because they are prisoners of their own damn minds.
Wow.
When you're in prison now, you have to get control of your mind. You can't survive that environment.
For sure.
Because it can suck. If you just mull on that over and over and over, it just sucks. So I would just tell you, look, now that you I don't know what stage anyone is at, but it doesn't matter what your stage is. You, in one form or another, have more control of your mind than the people outside who are supposedly free.
Damn.
Now, if you can start pouring into that mind,
yes.
if you can start pushing out some of the negatives, you can start pushing out some of the talk that we all have in our head where someone told you weren't shit, or the police said this, or that person said that, or the judge said that, or whatever. You start pushing in some good stuff. When you come out, you have an advantage. You have an advantage over these people because they're stuck in their 9 to 5s. They'll never get out.
I say that all the time. Like, once we can figure our shit out, we have an advantage on the rest of the world.
Do
Because
we?
you know why? We're hustlers and grinders, and we've had our backs up against the fucking wall, and that's usually when we perform best. You know what I'm saying?
I tell people all the time, the sharpest entrepreneurs I ever met, I met in the streets.
Yes.
I met in the streets. Just give them a different product. Give them a product that ain't going to put them in prison.
Yeah, for sure. Like the dude's in prison, man. You get that full of blanket in the sheet, bro, and he turns into an entrepreneur and starts selling sheets and little ornaments and all kind of shit, bro. It's the same stuff.
When you get out, come and see me. I got an opportunity for you.
Yeah, for
we'll
sure.
snap packs, cash checks. I'll show you how to do this
There we
stuff.
go,
I don't
yeah.
care what your background is. You know, matter of fact, I prefer people that have a colorful background.
For sure.
I prefer people that have a little edge to them.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
All right, last plug here,
Yeah.
man. I want you to plug give the dudes all your social media connects, how to look up your OSNAP company. One little final plug on the OSNAP lick too, bro.
Yeah, man. Look, we're transforming minds, bodies, and bank accounts. Everything starts with the mind. You get the mind right, eventually you'll catch on. You got to get the body right, because if the body's jacked up, if you're lethargic and you can't move around well, you're ever going to get rich. Or if you do, you won't get to enjoy it very long. So mind, bodies, bank accounts. It's OSNAP. That's OSNAP. Don't put the H in there. It's OSNAP. .com is our website, but you can find me. I return everybody's stuff. I handle all my own social media now. So on Instagram is where you find me the most, and that's John JOHN Malott MALOTT John.Malott on Instagram. And I'm dancing on TikTok from time to time.
Oh, are you? There you go.
I'm
a
TikTok sensation. I'm the 50-some-year-old TikTok sensation.
There we go, dude. Thank you so much for being here. I feel like I've said this a few times, but this is no offense on my previous guests, but this was my favorite episode. So
you're just saying that because
I'm being serious. Bro. You're more inspirational than I even thought, and your story is just powerful, bro. So thank you again for being here.
My pleasure, bro.
I appreciate it, and I hope everybody picked up something from here. So stay tuned for the next week, and thank you guys again for listening.
Yes, peace.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe wherever you get your podcast and leave us some feedback. We would love to know what you think. You can find everything discussed in this episode and more in our show notes below or petermeyerhoff.com. I am Peter Meyerhoff, and you've been listening to the Roll Call with Chappie podcast.